According to the latest census, more Americans than ever now identify as multiracial. Just take a look at some of our staff's children here at CUNY TV. They are no longer having to pick just one race on the census. And for many biracial and multiracial people, it means finally embracing being 100% mixed. What's your name?
My name is Roop.
Roop.
R-O-O-P. Roop. No, spell backward word.
Raj Tawney is a proud dad, happy to tag alongside his son Raj, a newly minted author. He is, after all, featured in his son's new book, A Colorful Palette, a flavorful journey through a mixed American experience. The book, a memoir with sprinkles of recipes, is a story of identity and the struggles growing up mixed race.
It started when I was 5 years old, my first day of kindergarten. They brought myself and an Egyptian American girl into an ESL room and said, do you speak English? Where are you from? And it was funny because I never saw myself as an outsider until it was pointed out to me.
Raj Tawney grew up in Queens and Long Island. His father, Roop, is Indian, his mother, Puerto Rican and Italian.
She met my father in 1979 and they married in 1981. And they built this really beautiful family. And I don't think they knew at the time that their kids would have a little bit of a confusing and difficult childhood in some ways being mixed.
Like many multiracial children, Tawney felt unmoored, growing up half this, a quarter that, never feeling 100%.
That whole question, what are you? And that's that question I still get to this day. So I never really found myself fitting into the Indian culture too much either because I didn't look at the part and I wasn't as deeply engaged in it. And the Puerto Rican and Italian side, I also felt kind of disconnected. So I guess early on decided I was going to be more of a nonconformist and a rebel and kind of carve my own path in life.
Tawney did set out on his own path, and today he also celebrates his mixed heritage. His book is a love letter to his upbringing where food, a mix of Indian, Italian, and Puerto Rican, was all comforting.
Food was an important part for me because while I felt like an outsider everywhere I went, in my house, chopping onions, peeling garlic, mashing meat together with my mom and my grandma, those stories, I asked them at the kitchen counter. It was a safe space for them to open up to me and tell me about their own personal journeys.
Tawney is no longer an outsider. In fact, he is part of the country's fastest growing demographic. According to the 2020 census, more than 33 million Americans identify as being two or more races. That's up by nearly 25 million in the past decade. And this story hits close to home. My daughter is biracial. In 2020, she spoke candidly about her identity on the CUNY show Shades of Us.
When I look at myself, I see both sides of my ethnic heritage pretty equally because I'm half Filipino, half white. I think my parents definitely deserve a lot of credit because they have basically exposed me to both cultures and educated me about both cultures, and I've also been very connected to both sides of the family throughout my life.
Social scientists say it's the future of America with increased immigration and more interracial relationships. Also, it wasn't until 2000 that the census tweaked its form, allowing people to choose more than one race.
There's a beautiful poem called The Mixed Bill of Rights by Dr. Maria P.P. Root that I just love. And it's basically saying that I have the right to choose my own identity. And it can change on the day-to-day, hour-to-hour, and no one has the right to tell me otherwise except for myself.
Alex Chester Iwata's dad is Japanese, and her mother is Ashkenazi Jewish. In 2017, the actress was looking for an outlet that spoke to her mixed Asian identity. She couldn't find one, so she started a website called Hapa, a Hawaiian word for mixed race.
We were just so fed up, and I was fed up with not seeing representation in mainstream media for the mixed API community. So I gathered like a group of 9 friends who happened to be mixed Asian, and I was like, what if we started our own online magazine?
In 2020, the online site took off and changed their name to Mixed Asian Media. Their reach went from 1 million to 5 million readers.
Why do you think the media site has resonated with so many people?
I think because it's so intersectional. Whether you're mixed race or you're not, our stories are just human stories.
Chester Iwata, who grew up identifying closer to her mother's Jewish culture, learned quickly from Hollywood casting directors that she was not white.
I was always constantly being told as a child actor that, oh, you're so exotic. What are you? Do you speak Japanese? Can you do an accent?
Despite her so-called exotic looks, she wasn't Asian enough to be cast in Asian roles
Is this a Monty Python question?
and wasn't white enough to be cast in white roles. It took many years, but Chester Iwata finally feels enough, and she credits her own website.
I wanted a community. I wanted a place where I felt seen and heard, where I saw people that looked like me with their stories being told. I was tired of feeling isolated, and I knew others felt like that. So 100% my experience in the entertainment industry informed why I created Mixed Asian Media.
While her website's popularity grew, so did mixed-race Asians in Hollywood and entertainment. Mega pop star Olivia Rodrigo is Filipino and white. Grammy Award winner Her is Black and Filipino. Olivia Munn is Chinese and white. And we're seeing more shows adding mixed-race Asian storylines. Darren Barnett plays Paxton Hall Yoshida. In Mindy Kaling's Never Have I Ever, there's a scene where he reveals being half Japanese and introduces his grandfather, who was interned during World War II.
So, first of all, Oji-chan, you were born in the United States, correct?
Yes.
And even though you were an American citizen by birth, you were still considered a foreign threat.
Which I was not. I was 5.
And the influence of mixed-race Asians goes beyond Hollywood. Look at the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris is Indian and white. So these days, for many multiracial people, the often asked question that many used to dread, "What are you?" is easier to answer.
When people used to ask me what I am when I was younger, I used to kind of give a passive-aggressive remark, like, I'm a mutt. Just to see their reaction, like kind of challenge them. And now as an adult, I'm proud to say I'm half Indian, a quarter Puerto Rican, a quarter Italian, and really proud of it.
For Asian American Life, I'm Ernabelle DeMillo.